Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dworkin and I'm a managing partner at 40 Capital. We specialize in a very unique mathematical approach to the stock market where we analyze the market and individual stocks in multidimensional space. And when we do, essentially perfect order emerges. On top of that, we've developed a number of very powerful timing tools that we apply on top of our calculations. And when we do, once again, we can make very accurate projections in both price and time, and typically on multiple time frames, whether we're talking about long-term or short-term composition of the overall stock market or individual stocks. I personally believe our work is nearly identical to what Jim Simmons was able to accomplish at Renaissance Technologies. So our primary goal as a firm is to identify stocks that will 2x, 5x, 10x going forward. Our goal is to find the next NVIDIA, Apple, Bitcoin, Tesla, so on and so forth. And we can typically do it by using our very powerful software that calculates what I've just described, both time and price. And we can scan with that software the entire S&P 500. We can run our calculations and we can determine which stocks are about to put in major bottoms. Okay? Then we can come into those bottoms and we can calculate from them exactly how far any particular stock will move, once again, in both time and price. And from that very small group of stocks, we can typically pull out and identify which stocks will go up quite substantially going forward. And if you watch some of my past videos, I discuss a number of very different stocks and exactly how we do it by identifying that bottom and then projecting from that bottom and essentially only concentrating on opportunities that will 2x, 5x, 10x, and so on and so forth. Today we're going to be looking at JPMorgan Chase. JPMorgan Chase is one of our mega cap stocks that we update twice every year, and basically that's the chart that we're looking at. So far the stock has been more or less following our trajectory. We had to make small adjustments that I described in our written report, but just going to give you a very quick summary of what's going on with the stock, what the future holds over the next couple of months and over the next couple of years as well. And we're also going to look at some of the top projection targets. Well, I gave away the secret, so to speak. The stock is about to top, and once it tops, it's going to decline, not significantly, 20, 30, maximum 50% from this particular top. And we can look at the numbers once we get there. So basically what you're seeing here at the bottom and the top, those who've been following our videos already know, I'm kind of repeating myself, but basically these, we call them cycle composites. And this is a very simple visual representation of a very complex mathematical concept that we apply towards the data that we have in order to produce it. So we scan the market back, we identify these cycle composites, we pull them out, and we project them into the future. So the bottom composites are responsible for the bottoms, major, minor, depending on the time frame we're looking at, and the top composites are responsible for the tops. What makes it even more complicated is there are typically multiple composites running in the market or individual stocks at any given time. I use Dow Jones always as an example. So for example, in the Dow Jones, there are two bottom composites and two top composites. They're quite different and they're running together at the same time. But if you know how to put them together, you can essentially replicate the overall time and price action that we see on a two-dimensional chart. Okay? So from these composites, you see that JPMorgan Chase is increasing into this mid-cycle top, which is scheduled to arrive very soon, middle of October to be exact. And once this top is put in place, it's going to decline right into this point, which is, it shows up on the chart as April of 2026. Now, I will tell you right away that this particular juncture will have to be most likely extended into the third and the fourth quarter of 2026, but it's a little bit early for that, so just keep in mind that the decline is going to be between October and the end of next year. Okay, that's what the cycle cluster is saying. Now the lines you see, cycle composites say. Now the lines you see on the chart are what we call cycle clusters. It is yet another very powerful timing tool that we've developed. So while the cycle composites will get us into the neighborhood of any particular top or bottom, once again, really depends on the time frame that we're looking at. Cycle clusters will give you the exact date. And very similar process, we scan the market back, we identify our proprietary cycles, and when we project them into the future. What we found over the years is that stocks or the overall market, they typically have very important turning points, not when a singular cycle arrives, but when there's a multitude of cycles arriving at the same time. So if we have a particular date when, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 major cycles arrive for that particular stock, then we'll have a significant turning point there. No doubt about it. Okay, I'll give you March 9th or March 9th, or no, March 6th of 2009. If I remember correctly, we had nearly 15 very powerful cycles arriving within that 2 or 3 day time window. So as the market was declining and selling off into a major bear market bottom, anybody who's familiar with this work can come in and say, okay, well, this is a very important turning point. The market's going to bottom there and then rally going forward. And that's, of course, what happened. So what are we looking at? So we're looking at, to be exact, I believe around October 10th. I don't want to be very exact in this particular forum. What we do have is we have a 30-day free trial associated with our service, no strings attached, no credit cards, none of that. If you're interested in exact projections in both time and price, I will get you into the neighborhood here, but if you want exact projections in both time and price, I do encourage you to request a free trial, and you'll have those projections there, not only for the 52 mega cap stocks, not only for the Dow Jones and the overall market, not only for some of the fast movers that we have, but a lot of stocks that are, for example, I discussed previously, that are about to put in important bottom, for example, and stage significant advances going forward. So if you want that, then please request a free trial. But going forward, approximately around middle of October, we're going to have a top on JPMorgan Chase. And after that, we're going to decline into this mid-cycle bottom. And as I mentioned before, the sell-off is going to be between 20 and 40%. Not very significant, but nevertheless, it would be a very good time to avoid the stock at that juncture. So let me give you yet another representation of our three-dimensional calculations. This is one of them, the green dots, and as you can see right here, it is projecting into this particular area. If we click on it, it's going to show us $350. Now, I'm not pinning my analysis on this particular number, and I'll show you why in a second. So let me minimize this. So this is the secondary representation of our three-dimensional calculations. And the dots you see here, or little cubes or triangles, not triangles, but little cubes, I guess, is targeting for JPMorgan Chase for that middle of October time turning point that I just discussed earlier. So these, sometimes what's very interesting about our work, sometimes it is very, very clear. We have a singular point, but as is the case here with JPMorgan, it is not as clear as we would like it to be. So what it is telling us, it has a number of different potential completion points for the stock to top out before it begins to decline. And the way we deal with that is that when the time turning point that I just described earlier, middle of October, arrives, we can typically tell with a very good precision exactly where that particular top is going to be. So for example, if the stock is sitting at this juncture of $314, we know that's where the top is going to be. If it's sitting at this juncture of $318, we know that's where the top is going to be. If it ended up kind of striking into this larger cube, which is likely to be the case, we know that the top is going to be right here, and then we can structure our trades accordingly. And of course, it breaks above them. We can go a little bit higher into this one, which is lines up with that $350 point that I just showed you. But once again, most likely we're going to end up in this bigger cube associated with this particular top. But if we don't, if we're sitting at the other twos, then that doesn't really matter. We know that the top is coming, and it is time to sell if you long position, or perhaps hedge if you don't want to do that, or perhaps go short if you want to participate on the short side. But in this particular situation, I would avoid the short side, because when our work does project significant downside of 50% or more, particularly in a fast mover kind of fashion, it does make sense. But for the JPMorgan to decline, 20-30%, it's going to be quite a bit of volatility, and it's unlikely to result in significant gains for you if you decide to play on the short side. So it's probably one of the better opportunities to avoid on the short side. But just to very quickly repeat what I was just saying, we're going to top out at one of these junctures, decline into the second half of 2026. At that point in time, a very important bottom is going to be put in place, and then the stock will rally to new all-time highs. Most likely, we're going to be dealing with a very low interest rate environment, artificial or not. At that juncture, let me show you the long-term composition for the stock. So yeah, once this bottom is hit, we're going to increase into this particular top, which is scheduled for late 2028, 2029. That's what I'm talking about. So that's pretty much for JPMorgan Chase. Once again, we do have a free trial associated with our service. If you would like to see exact targeting, as you can tell, I haven't been as precise as I could be. But if you'd like to see the exact targeting for JPMorgan Chase, as well as many other stocks, including the overall stock market, I do encourage you to request it, and then you can see all of that information. We also have a webinar coming up, I believe on September 5th, next Friday. Only 10 spots available. I do encourage you to sign up. The selling point of this webinar, not only do we talk about our overall calculations and how we calculate the market in three-dimensional space, we show off our software, how it is able to pick out those stocks that will 10x and sometimes more over the next couple of years. But we also discuss the overall composition of the stock market, where we are, and what's going to happen going forward. We typically shy away from discussing those particular points because that's our bread and butter, but in this webinar format, we will go ahead and do so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll find a bunch of links for all of those things in the description of this video, and we'll be back with another update most likely tomorrow. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.